who survived Sunday evening at Dragon Con. Yeah, you're heat tolerant, that's good. It's not gonna be a problem. You seem to be immune to any number, but not all, contagions that are around. You're pretty strong, so we can bring on some folks from space. And hopefully you're not gonna irreversibly contaminate them. Does that sound like a good idea? Excellent. All right, first up the stage, please welcome Gigi Edgley. And Anthony Simcoe. And bringing up the rear, our Commandant, Rebecca Riggs. Have a seat, everybody. Let's chat.
Oh, shit. See, I said shivers instead of shit. I'm learning.
Enunciate.
Congratulations, everyone, for surviving the weekend.
You made it here. Oh my goodness. We said anyone who turns up to this is hardcore. Like, you are what we call real scapers.
Yes.
So, I've been volunteering for this convention. I got my 20-year shirt today. I wonder what else has been going on maybe 20 years ago. Was anything more than 20 years ago worth talking about? A little show maybe. Back when sci-fi spelled their name correctly. Used all the letters.
Firefly?
I don't know. Well, welcome back. I saw this pop up on Amazon Prime a while back, and I'm like, I should probably start watching the show, and a good thing, because then y'all showed up. And wow, it was emotional for me going back and watching that first season and getting into the second season, because I had not gone back and revisited it in so long. And in my mind, it held up really well. Like not just visually, but emotionally, getting everything set for what is a sweeping show. So how do you feel about going back 20 years and having people still have that connection?
I actually started watching it repetitively. Amazon Prime. Maybe not even really watching it, just get noted.
Yeah, I've just got a loop in my house.
Don't touch the TV. But I'm watching it with my guy because he hasn't seen much of it. So it's actually quite beautiful because I didn't watch, I've watched a couple of episodes before mine because it wasn't on Australian TV at the time, just so I knew the energy of the show, but I didn't watch from the beginning because I also didn't want to know too much because Gianna was a criminal and she didn't know anything about these creatures and I wanted to embrace that as well. So I was actually for the first time watched right from the beginning. I was like, wow, oh my God, that's awesome. But I still forget. I've forgotten a lot of it. So like I'll get surprised or I'll start crying and my guy's like, it's you, idiot. I'm like, I don't wanted to leave Targo. It's very beautiful, but I was surprised how well it did stand up. The computer graphics are amazing. I was going to say extraordinary, but that word's copyrighted.
I want to ask you guys, like, when I find it very hard, even after something like 20 years, I find it very hard to watch myself back neutrally, in the sense that if I see myself in a scene, all of a sudden I'm watching it from Dargo's perspective. I'm not watching it from a viewer. I'm like, okay, I'm in this, and my emotional life and my intellectual life goes, okay, and because I can't remember the scenes, for such a long time ago, you really are reinvesting that emotional life in it. So I feel quite drained and wrought at the end of watching some of those scenes just because the stakes were so high in that show. So that's unique. Like I've got wonderful films that I watch over and over and over and over again, and I have ever since I was a kid, like Time Bandits or Dark Crystal or Empire Strikes Back, Caddyshack. These are all the films I've been watching since I was 15 and will I'll probably watch till the day I die. You can never watch Caddyshack too many times. You can never watch Empire Strikes Back too many times. All these type of things, but that's its own experience. But watching yourself back is it's weird and unique.
I think it's like there's some pathways. My neuropsychology is not great, but I think there are some pathways in your brain that are forever changed by doing Farscape and possibly by watching Farscape. And so returning to it is like, even if you can't remember it, they're there somehow, and you relive it. I'm loving the fact that I've had conversations in the last week with people who tell me that when they first started watching it, they put it on video. I went, oh, video, that's a long time ago. But I've also had conversations with 16-year-olds who aren't up to me yet. Like, they're just in the second series, and so and I'm trying to tell them she's really lovely and whatever. I said, she seemed a bit harsh at the beginning, but you'll understand. And then and she went, all right, and she started to go, and I said, no, I couldn't let her leave like that. I thought she's going to be watching this going, but that nice lady told me. I'm not going to, I said, no, she's hideous, just carry that away with you. It's wonderful that there are those two sides of the coin.
By the way, we will have opportunity for audience questions. We have someone, we have a roaming mic? Okay, so, guy that none of us can see because the lights actually work. If you have a question, it's a small room. Do you want to Donahue this thing, or you want to...
Come on down.
Yeah, come on, let's get the first one over here.
You're right. We're not too stinky, we're a little bit stinky because it's day 4, but we're not
This question is for Rebecca. You talked about before prepping to come on to the show. Was there any kind of like jitters or stuff like you're coming on to this production as a new member? Was there anything that you had to, were you worried like you're not going to be accepted or anything like that?
Look, I think there always is, but it's a bit of a you're on a bit of a wave. Like you get cast, and then there's wigs and hair and feet and costumes, and so this this catches you up. And as soon as I went to the first reading, actually, it was a very tight ensemble, a very tight family, but it was also very accepting. I didn't have the sense that this is going to be hard to break into. So they are awesome, then, now and forever.
Who did you know? Like, we knew each other not well.
Yeah,
who
so...
did you know from the...
I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, right.
So, I knew you guys from Briz, but that was it. So, I was walking into a room. But, I think...
So did you do QT as well? No, just me and QT.
Yeah, no.
So we
QT.
all went to the...
Yeah, we went to QT.
Wow.
Yeah, same acting
Drama
school.
school in Britain.
Yeah. So, I knew that about us. I think Wayne and I had because we walked into the set together, and it was like we were very much sizing each other up, the villains. And he got, I think it's still there, he got my rank wrong. I think he says Commodore. I don't think that ever got changed. See, sneaky sly bugger. Person.
Oh, that was something I was wondering, because you came into a very established show, and your job is to be badder than the big bad, who already then in the first season had to be bigger than the big bad. So how did they kind of prep you to come into this world and say, see the scary kind of lizardy dude in the leather? Yeah, you need to be more bad than that. Go.
Look, one of the really interesting things is the makeup. The first version of the makeup was Sebastian, in other words, human. So I did the makeup trial, and I was just in, elegant lady. I had the black hair, but it was a bit longer. And they went, compared to Scorpio, she's a bit human, And so the conversation then, very quickly, it was like, we've got to make her look different. She don't want another overt monster. We've done that, so what is it about her? And, at one stage they were going, she could have black teeth. A whole lot of things, and in fact I was talking to Kemper in the makeup room, and I said, why don't you do, because they do all this extraordinary, shading makeup, which they did on Gigi and me, and even on many of the people with, that don't look like they're wearing a lot of makeup. There's this beautiful sort of spray paint makeup, and I said, why don't you do all that in the colours of, an ice queen, a dead person? And that's how the makeup happened. They went, we'll give it a shot. They did it, they tested it, they went, yes, good, we've got that. That is the way that Farscape worked. Wherever the idea came, if it works, they were really happy. And as far as, being badder than Scorpius, I was different bad. And I think the way she was badder is that she looked not like a monster. So if a monster walks into the room, everybody's already on guard. If you know, a diplomat or a commandant walks into the room, they don't know that they're dealing with a monster. I kind of like that.
Originally, Chiana's makeup was meant to be Sikozu's look in Peacekeeper Wars, with the orange and the mohawk, and then Leslie saw the audition tape, and she said, oh no, that's not going to work with Gigi's face. So she told me that Chiana came from being inspired by an audition tape. I was like, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's
and
great.
she wanted to get to look like a black and white photo. I said a little bit the other day, so devastated when they put on those horrible cat's eyes. To me, it destroyed my whole vision of Chi, because I didn't mind the white eyes because they came and went, but it made it look like a makeup to me. There was something quite whimsical about these big black eyes that you fall into. But Virginia brought up an interesting thing. She said the contact lenses, she always felt a bit removed because we don't notice that when we're speaking to each other, your pupils actually dilate and ever so slightly. So it's like a subconscious thing as well. So when we do have that thing.
That was my big, still to this day, Brian and I agree to disagree, where he was absolutely adamant that Dargo had lenses, and I wore them for, like, I think the pilot and the next one, and I just went, no, you just cannot read the emotions if you can't see the pupils. If you can't see the pupils change, then you've just got a guy in a rubber suit. I said, you need to see those. I said, as cool as funky looking lenses look, and you can make them do this, you can make them do that, they can serve their purpose here, but if you've got a character that's going to tell stories every week, hour after hour after hour after hour after hour, you need to be able to read this guy's emotion. No, I want that. I don't want the lenses. So a bit like that, and thankfully he was in LA and I was on set, but I stopped wearing it.
I couldn't do that with Peacekeeper because he was a bloody director. I'm like, damn it.
So this is the conversation that the diehards get. All the other characters.
Yeah, don't bring that up in front of Brian.
We're not here, okay?
We can just talk amongst ourselves, right? Where do we have our next question?
Okay, so, hi. Has anybody here not seen the Peacekeeper Wars? No? Okay, so, spoiler. This is for Rebecca. Who is your feeling that your baby's daddy is?
Oh, it's not a feeling, it's complete utter knowledge, which I've decided. So when I say knowledge, it's opinion. Look, given that Sebastians and peacekeepers can control their fertility, who is the most useful? Grazer doesn't get pregnant by accident. She doesn't get pregnant for any emotional reasons. Who is the only person it is useful to have to gestate a baby by?
Crichton.
Yeah. Of course. D'accord. Yeah. Absolutely.
So in the future,
Yes.
And John's baby. It's
And
intriguing,
isn't it
it?
cool that it all came from you created that whole storyline because you brought your beautiful baby to set.
Yeah,
Baby.
so
it's
for
all
anybody
her fault.
that doesn't know, that was actually my baby.
I'm sorry Ben's not here. I have a lot of different questions. So there's like a Jerry Springer episode that got cut.
Got the roaming mic. So.
Yeah. All right, let's go back out. Who's got the next one?
I had a chance to ask Anthony this yesterday, but for the other two, when you guys still see people in all sorts of different costumes and whatnot, and in particular your guys' characters, what goes through your mind? What do you feel when you see that 20 years later still to this day?
So humble and so gracious and so lucky and fortunate. Like we know how much time and energy goes into that, and we didn't even make the makeup, or make the costumes, or put the makeup on ourselves. So these guys are doing it all from scratch. And the guys, I don't know if there's any of them here today, but they were sitting in the front row, the very first panel, and we made them stand up and turn around, but we forgot to do a big group photo. I'm like, oh no! So the gentleman dressed up as Dargo came up to the table downstairs, and he goes, oh, it was a great photo. And I was like, I'm so sorry that we didn't bring you up, because we usually do a fun group photo, and I know how much energy and time you guys put into it. Can you do it again tomorrow? Well, but we usually go out to about 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, perfect, it's not till 10, maybe 3 hours. got some amazing cosplays yesterday. Very, very, so cool. We love that show. And we just feel very blessed.
Yeah, and I would echo that. And I haven't seen a whole heap of Graces actually, but I think whenever I see either her or anybody dressed up in cosplay, I think. Having said that, would you guys like to stand and show your brilliant ship costumes, because they are extraordinary and in the conversation over the last days, you know, a lot of people said that the first thing,
Normally at a con when you say I ship that, this is not what I'm thinking, but it totally works. And it's more appropriate for the morning artist.
It's just the best loiter in talent compound ever seen in 20 years. That's how good it is. Fantastic.
How long did it take you guys to make it?
I actually made both of them, and the original costumes took me a year. I remade these in 3 months.
Wow, well done.
So you're close to 3-month remake. That's great.
Really.
Thank you.
All right, where's our next question from our roving hand?
Hello. So for those that were not at the panels in the previous days, there was talk that you're working on trying to get a revival to happen of the show. So everyone watch it on Amazon Prime, because that's what you got to do. So I was wondering, for all of you, including Anthony, if you had the opportunity to come back, what would you like to do on a revival of the show?
Has anyone seen a Monty Python film called Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yeah. It's been around the world.
There's a scene where one of the characters goes into the castle with all the Vestal Virgins.
Anthony, we're the watershed, Anthony.
That Dargo is rescued by the Vestal Virgins, and he's just been hanging out there for like decades and decades. Doing what Dargo does. Being your daddy.
So can we get your best Dargo voice and sing I Think I Can Handle the Peril? There's a visual we weren't expecting. Welcome to DragonCon.
There's so much more to tell. Like when they picked up season 4, they assured us that season 5 was also attached. So you've got to understand, we were such a tight family at that stage, working 16-hour days, you know, doing these intense scenes, stunt scenes, emotional scenes, love scenes. Like, we didn't really hang out with anyone that wasn't involved in the Farscape world, because you would never see your partners, you know, so it was very connected. So I remember the exact day, the exact moment Brian came to set, and we were shooting the Earth episode, and we had no idea. So also a lot of us had, you know, got mortgages or got leased out cars or, you know, invested in stuff, you know, and financially and emotionally and spiritually, everything. You've got, you know, you're on the show for at least another year, 2 years kind of thing. And
Just can I just butt into 1 second to add just 2 sentences of context? And this is not a complaint. Australian actors are not paid like American actors. We do not get residuals from the show. So do not think that we're there making this all this TV money that you would make if you were on Star Trek or anything. Nowhere near it. In our dreams where we pay. So that's why things like mortgages and rent and things like that we weren't these rich TV stars living on this money for absolutely not that. We had our weekly wage and that go through it, and all of a sudden we thought we had it to this length of time, and all of a sudden shivers, there is my mortgage ahead of me, there is this, it's stopped. That's just because I think if you're American doing Star Trek, that's a different thing.
It's a good perspective.
Oh, well, now I just have to live on my residuals for the next 3 years or whatever the case may be, you know.